Light and dark magic are often spoken about as opposites. Yet in practice, it's rarely that simple. And often they go hand in hand. Hi, everyone. Blessings, blessings, blessings. I am Lady Drasmin, one of the co-hosts in the podcast, He Vibes, She Dives, and this is my solo episode for the series of Light and Dark Magic. Today, I want to speak into what actually creates clarity and where discernment begins. Clarity around what is light and dark magic. Heck, what is even magic? And how does one tap into discernment, especially when trust has repeatedly been broken? Now, first of all, magic is not light or dark. I spoke extensively in this duo episode with my co-host Timber on what magic is. And if you have not caught that episode, as well as Timber's solo episode, the link for the playlist is in the description box below. In brief, what I will share here in context of our conversation today, magic is how you relate, choose, and respond to the ripple effect of consequence. When we intentionally use our awareness, our energy, and our actions, our choices to influence our inner state, thus affecting our external reality, we experience magic. In other words, how you think, choose, and respond creates what becomes of your everyday life. So magic is not separate from you. It is the quality of experience that comes from engaging life with intention and responsibility, our ability to respond. And where discernment comes in is what keeps the lines clean. Now, we have been taught, too many of us, myself included, to choose between light and dark. But again, even in that choice of this is light and this is dark, do you actually know what you are choosing? What is underneath the instinct or the impulse of reaction or response that then creates choice? So light and dark are not opposites to choose from. They are experiences happening simultaneously that exist for deeper understanding and thus more harmonized co-creation with all of life. So let's break this idea that light is good and dark is bad, because both can be used in integrity or distortion. The ways that the distortion begins to happen is when we start to outsource our authority. This is where that responsibility piece comes in. Responsibility, our ability to respond to an emotion, to a thought, to a question, to a challenge, to a blessing, to a new or old or repeating or mundane or mystical experience. Our ability to respond effectively. Our ability to respond, creating potential consequence that we might not like. Ooh, that then brings in the avoiding of responsibility. Now, this is a key distinction to make. We make informed choices, theoretically, and sometimes still have consequences that we do not desire. That does not make us responsible for consequence. Unless you directly created a negative impact. You intentionally went out there to create that consequence. This is where the lines become muddy because we start calling something light to feel safe and something dark to avoid it. Shadow alchemy has been an unfolding topic in collective for a few years now. And I myself have a chapter in the book Shadow Alchemy, which was published 2 years ago, international bestseller, available in my online store. Check it out if you like, down there in the link. And in this book, Shadow Alchemy, myself and 21 other authors talk about how the shadow shows up, how we work with the shadow to integrate it. We cannot escape the shadow. Even right now, as I'm speaking, there is a shadow of my hand on my forearm, right? There's a shadow being cast. The light exists, and therefore there has to be a shadow. And where there is shadow, there is light, because shadow is the obstruction of light. So darkness is really made of light and shadow. Light, clarity, and shadow, those lines of discernment. So when we start to get fuzzy on our own inner clarity, when we start to avoid responsibility of our own growth, evolution, accountability, then we start outsourcing our power. We're looking for something else to be responsible, and then that becomes the higher authority, the inner compass, but it's not, it's displaced. And so that is the first step, is, are you acting from inner authority? The discernment begins inside, inner authority. Now let's go in there for a moment. Oof, we're stepping into the unknown. We're starting to look into what is in here, independent, removed from, for a moment disconnected from anyone and anything outside of self, simply to recognize, acknowledge, reconcile with inner truth. And those of pure soul, the inner truth is aligned with the law of one, the truth of life. That is that all is sacred. All is creation. I am that I am, and that is you. You are the I am. We are all the I am in the infinite I am. And for centuries, manipulation and genetic spirit. What is the word? Well, that has been cleared out, and now the DNA codex is restoring to the divine blueprint. So the opposite of that was going on for centuries, that is now no longer happening. The words are not even coming through. Fantastic. All of that does play a role in, well, when I tap into myself, what do I trust? This is a big place where so many of us get stuck, because there has been so much corruption and attempted distortion of purity and truth. But the truth is that light simply is. This light that is shining upon me simply is. In this moment, it is created through the light bulb. If I step outside, it is created through the sun or the moon. It is reflecting what I am, so I am also the light. We are existing in a mirror reality, which is why the law of mind, as you think, so you believe, so you act, so you become, is so powerful in the earth frequency. Because everything is a vibration of thought that has been molded and created into form over time through repetition. So if we strip away the illusion of the form of light, we start to feel that within self. Trust is a tricky space to step into, especially for so many of us that have experienced the opposite of trust. As someone who is on the autistic neurodivergent spectrum, I take word literally. And so when words are spoken in my presence and exactly as spoken doesn't happen, trust is shaken. As a child, I was unaware of that way of wiring within myself. And so there has been a lot of broken trust that has been repaired through my own work and time, that then brought me this power key I will now share with you. And that is how to tap into trust. So trust is the acronym for taking risks unlocks special talents. And what is the risk in this moment? To return to inner authority, to go against what society has been programmed to believe, which is that your power comes from someone outside of you. So the practice of trust begins with taking this risk to step into the unknown of you without any idea of what's going to happen, yet with that absolute certainty that you are stepping into the only container that is purely you. You are the only you. Y-O-U. You open universes. You are the universe within, and there's multitudes that exists within you. In a previous podcast episode, I spoke into the EGO, everyone's good opinion, and how that starts to compress your you. down, 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 down. I believe the episode is called EGO and Integrity in Intimacy here in the He Vibes, She Dives Season 2 playlist. So I invite you to go listen to that because that episode brings understanding into how we could get lost, buried, shall we say, even in our families, even in circles that we want to be in. No shame or blame here, simply awareness. Because the more we increase our quotient of awareness, the easier it becomes to increase our capacity to hold ourselves as the awareness, as the light increases. So bringing that back to trust, bringing that back into taking those risks. We step into this unknown of self and we unlock some kind of special talent, some kind of soft tingling inside that we don't know what it's going to reveal. So taking risks, step into that unknown of you with the absolute certainty that you are the only you. And so you cannot deceive yourself because you literally choose life in every breath. As someone who has worked closely with the dying for over 2 decades, one of the most common things I have heard when someone is about to transition over is, I wish I had more time to live. You existing right now in the moment, you breathing in, is a gentle reminder that you have chosen life. And you can choose how to navigate life in this moment, no matter how hard it might actually be. So we take a risk, right? We step in, we unlock, we open our capacity, we open our perception, we open our awareness. And then we tap into our special talents, our special you-ness. This makes me think of a line from the Mad Hatter in Alice in Wonderland. I believe it's the second one, where Alice goes to visit the Mad Hatter and he doesn't recognize her because she is grown. And he says to her, "You used to be much muchier. Go back and find your muchness, and when you have found it, return." This is what trust does. It reconnects you to your muchiness. That is where the magic lives. Magic lives there in the risk to reconnect with yourself. Owl is hooting right now in the middle of the day. And when you tap into your special talents, you tap into your soul gifts, your natural abilities, not the borrowed identities, not the EGOs, not everyone's good opinion, your God, Goddess, divinity, blueprint. Ancestral gifts that are wanting to come through you because those ancestors did not have the safety, the freedom, the body, whatever it might be, they were not able to bring those dreams forward, and yet you live on. You are the blood of all of the ancestors that walked before you. Every time you look at the mirror, all of those ancestors are looking back at you and saying, "Woohoo, look at you go." So in this acceptance of self, in this ownership of self, in this taking responsibility for our own impact upon ourselves, how we engage ourselves is how the world will engage with us. And then the discernment comes in when you tap into a possibility, and you are able to be clear without collapsing. Give you an example here. You tap into the possibility of, ooh, I really like writing. I really enjoy poetry. And so you start writing. You go to your 9-to-5 work, you go to your commission job, but you're always writing. You're just enjoying it, right? And then one day you share with your friends. They're like, "Wow, you're really good. You should write that in a book." Yeah, I just like to write. Okay. And then you keep writing, and years pass, and maybe you end up publishing the book. Maybe you just keep writing for yourself. You discern along the way, what is mine? What am I choosing? What is the actual impact? I use this example because I chose to publish. I never intended to become a poet. I was just writing after working in the medical field. I was on my way to become a neurosurgeon. I was just writing because I was taking those risks to come back into myself. What's my voice outside of my medical career, outside of being a fiance, outside of my partner's hobbies, outside of my girlfriend's interests, outside of my responsibilities and my pets and all these other things that everybody else loves to do? What do I like to do? Oh, I like to write. Shh, shh, shh. It wasn't a secret, but it was my special place. And then I slowly started sharing. People would see me writing. "Oh, what are you writing?" I'd share. "Oh, interesting, interesting. Oh, that's really good. You should share that." And then my second book of poetry was published because a sister invited us to co-author simultaneously, side by side, our own individual books. She went a different path. I followed through. We continue strengthening trust by following through with the consequence of our choices, right? And again, the consequence may not have the outcome we would like. So the discernment is not fear. Discernment is clarity without collapse. As you start tapping into those special gifts, you start looking at, ooh, is this mine? Or did I just pick this up somewhere? Here's another example. I was a painter for years. I still paint, more selectively now in my mediums. And I dabbled with all kinds of styles and graphic design and 2D design and sculpture and clay and acrylic and watercolor. And I really enjoyed clay for a while. I really liked it. But I couldn't quite connect with it, right? The deeper I went, the deeper I tapped in, taking those risks, going deeper and deeper and deeper into myself, like, I really want to pour my time and energy into something that I love doing. Life is so incredibly short. It's here and in a blink. Today is the youngest and strongest and wisest you will ever be. You may be stronger tomorrow, but in this moment, you are the wisest and strongest and smartest you'll ever be. So what can you tap into right now? Ooh, right now, I don't really want to tap into clay. But it keeps calling me. Okay, let me find out what's going on. Go deeper and deeper and deeper. And then I found it. A great-grandmother visited me in a dream. That was her gift. That was her dream. But it was living through me because I am of her blood. So we had a nice little conversation in my dream. And then the next day I got up and I took all the clay supplies and I donated them. I made peace. And then I was able to dive deeper into my painting because I made room for more of what I am choosing. This is how trust grows. What am I choosing and what is the actual impact? Not the managing of perception, not the projection of reality. What is the actual impact? This is where light and dark lives, not just in concepts, in how they show up, in how we relate, in our choices, in the consequences, and our response to those consequences, in our truth or our perception, in our integrity, in our intimacy. Ooh, that intimacy layer is where this trust piece shows up the most. This is where we truly start to tap into the power of our own energy frequency. Because this is where the light and dark truly gets acted out, whether we are communicating cleanly or being dishonest, deceptive, manipulative, hiding truths. Those are all phases of control, dominance. And that is just a symptom of avoidance. And brings the question of, are you being honest or are you in performance? Trust happens in transparency. Trust grows in clarity. Trust strengthens in consistency. So you don't really need to choose light or dark. You simply need to grow that trust muscle by continuing to choose what is yours, by continuing to accept the consequence of choice, and growing by adapting how you continue to engage in truth, not chiseling your truth. Magic is not about choosing light or dark. Magic is about how you show up with what's in front of you. For me, that comes back to that one thing, trust. How does trust go, Rose? Discerning. What is discerning? Clarity without collapse. So, in closing, when we start to look at light and dark in spiritual practice, right? This now brings in the quantum level, the quantum layer. I consider myself an alchemist, a quantum alchemist. And I work intentionally with the grid lines of the planet Earth. And so there is a large karmic responsibility that I accept when I tap into the unseen worlds and support others like me, whether they're called light workers, shadow dancers, web weavers. We're all contributing to the energetic grid system, upkeep, repair, maintenance of planet Earth. It's a job. And there is a big responsibility in that. And the reason I am able to tap into those higher currents is because I have, over time, repaired trust within myself and my inner capacity to be able to weave and hold and be a channel for those higher octaves of frequency that supports the entire planet. So I work with magic. Yet, for those who are on frequency, y'all recognize that it is the simple interplay of vibrational resonance. In everyday life, for those of us who are not up there in the quantum, we are all a part of this delicious web of life. The prayers that we bring into our food, the way we show up in how we care for our homes, how we care for ourselves. These are all places where you can practice magic. This is where words are spells of power. When you wash your body, speak sweetly to your body and notice what happens. Test out the theory of magic, of how intention creates more desirable consequence, and helps you also start to develop language because intention does not erase impact. Yet we continue to learn how to be clear with our language so that we can continue to walk in integrity. We can continue becoming deeper aligned with our inner authority. Again, magic is not separate from you. If your life is dull, speak life into it. If your food is dull, change what you eat. If your clothes are dull, change your wardrobe. Organize a clothing swap. Host a community potluck. There are so many ways that we can intentionally engage with life and increase the magic, the beauty, the goodness that is ever present. And especially now, while we're in a time of global change, as I'm bringing in this transmission forward, we are in the resurrection timeline. And I do have a small video on what that means somewhere here on YouTube. Take responsibility in how you engage with yourself, first and foremost, because you are the magic. You are light and shadow. You are darkness. You are everything. If your trust has been so broken and you don't know where to begin, begin by just looking in the mirror, place a hand on heart, and say, I have me. And if you're still not feeling that, I have a small audio guide, Hold Yourself While They Can't, that is available, where I hold you and guide you into returning to yourself. The muscle of trust can absolutely be repaired and strengthened with patience, consistency, and time. Your discernment grows as your level of awareness increases. And as your level of awareness increases, your capacity for more without collapse also increases. The magic that is you shows up in your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits, your choices, how you relate with other humans and with the earth. Your magic is revealed in what you are willing to take responsibility for and how. Thank you for tuning in. I would love to hear what stood out for you. And if you have any questions, curiosities, bring them to the live 4th Thursday of the month with my co-host, where we will address any and all questions on this topic. Thank you for being here. Thank you for receiving. Thank you for embracing more of the magic that is you.